Welcome to It Is What It Is, a true crime podcast. I am your host, Shaw-Marie. Hopefully everybody's having a good week, and if you're not, change that fucker around. Make it a good week. So this week, my bestest friend, Hadley, sent me this, and she's like, this dude's out of his fucking mind, and this is just crazy. And I've never heard about it. And yeah, he is. So this week I'm going to tell you guys about Pazuzu Algarad, or Algarad, one of the two. His real name is actually John Alexander Lawson. So I'll tell you about him. Very interesting feller. Anywhozer. So he was born John Alexander Lawson, like I said, on August 12th, 1978. He was raised in San Francisco. His mom's name is Kathleen. His dad's name is Lawson. They were married, obviously, and then they got divorced and separated. And so him and his mama moved to North Carolina. And so his mom remarries in Tennessee. And then they go there, and then they move back to Salem, North Carolina, Winston-Salem, sorry. And he was, oh my God. Okay, so you guys, there's a show that I'm going to tell you guys to watch. And then once you guys watch it, you'll understand why I'm laughing while I'm having a hard time describing this gentleman. So when he was in school, this dude was normal-ish. Like, he wasn't, like, too crazy. And he was, like, they called him, like, turd. And, like, made fun of him because he smelled like feces. Poo-poo, caca. He was an oddball, definitely. It's like a little stoner. You can definitely tell. One of his yearbook pictures, like, I don't even know if I've ever been that high. Like, dude was high as hell. And so he was crazy. And then he finds out that he himself is a witch. And then he changes his name from John to Pazuzu, who is like a devil. He's one of the guys. He's a devil. He's a devil. He refers to him as a god. He might be a god in a bad way, like in a Satanist type of way. But no. And Pazuzu is the Exorcism. Yeah, they mention him in the Exorcism. Good movie. But anywho, so I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay, so let me try to describe Pazuzu to you. He has tattoos all over his face. All over. He filed his teeth into, like, points. Like, I don't even... Crazy is what this motherfucker is. Okay? He is absolutely insane. So he literally goes insane. Like, this dude drops out, right? And he starts taking on the name, like I said. And now he is, what he says, a Satanist and a drug dealer. And, oh, look at me. I even wrote down what Pazuzu is. He is the king of demons. Sorry. The king of demons. And so That's who Pazuzu is. So he looks at himself as the king of demons. And he literally just did anything and everything to make the people in his little town freaked out. Like, to be the one, like, everybody turns his head. Like, he wanted to be the popular guy, but knew he would never be the popular guy. So he's the guy who is like, I want attention and I want it so much and all of it that I don't care if it's good, bad, or ugly. I'm getting it and I want it now. I grew up with a fella like this. Except for this Pazuzu fella is a little guy, from what I understand. He's just a little short fella. My guy was huge. And to this very day, the dude blacked out like half his face. Like, he literally gets bad vibes. Like, I used to, like, when he used to come see me at work, people would be like, dude, did you see there's that big, tall, scary guy? That big, tall, scary guy's out there in electronics. And I'm like, no shit, he's early. I gotta go for lunch. Like, he was the biggest teddy bear in the world, but everybody, like, he just looked scary, so he was just that scary guy. That's what Pazuzu wanted to do. He, deep down inside, he's just a vagina. He's a panocha, you know? And, so he is just out of his mind. After 9/11, he starts walking around like, and he puts a turban on his head. And so he takes like what people are afraid of and he dramatizes it. And he was like trying to be a vampire. I don't know. Dude was crazy. He literally, like, no one in his town wanted to fuck with him because they just looked at him as like a Charles Manson kind of crazy guy. Out of his mind. Like, seriously, who takes a Dremel, like a file, and files their teeth into like little points? Imagine the pain. But he was on a lot of drugs. A lot of the time. So everybody says that when he started using the drugs is when Satan came into the picture. And that's when, like, he really dove into that. He even believed at one point in time that his connection to the actual Pazuzu gave him, like, the power to control the weather. Yeah. And like I said, he practiced the dark magic, which is just, I don't even know. He did rituals, like, on the documentary. It's called The Devil You Know. You can watch it on YouTube or on Vice. But one of the guys is like, yeah, we used to cut each other, drink each other's blood. We just hung out. We just kicked it. Okay. Swear to God, ain't no one I ever hung out with fucking cutting nobody or drinking anybody's blood. So he literally just had a very troubled history with anger. He was a very sad individual deep down inside. And in 2008, he was convicted of larceny. And then he was put on parole. In 2011, he was convicted of assaulting his mother and putting her into a chokehold. And then at the time, he had a girlfriend named Amber, and they also called her Bubbles. That was the name she had chosen. So that was weird. She also got convicted of assaulting his mother too at one point in time. And he was arrested, and what happened is there's this guy, Joseph Chandler. He was killed by him. And like, I don't even know if Amber was there. She's the one that helped dispose of his body and move it more than once. But this dude shot this guy, okay? And his mom comes out, sees it, and then goes back and gets ready for work like it's nothing. Incredibly crazy. Now, don't think that this guy wasn't turned into the cops more than once, because he was. No one believed it. So he, like I said, he kills this dude, okay? And that's a year earlier from in 2011, which is crazy. I don't even know. Okay, so you guys gotta watch this fucking show to wrap your mind around it all. It's so much. Literally, people are calling the cops. That's okay. So to be honest, they were doing it anonymously, so that adds into why they really couldn't do much. But still, this dude's house was insane. It is like your local fucking dump yard in a home. Like, his mama's room was the nicest one out of it all, which is insane. Like, literally, just filth, disgust, just craziness everywhere. And they were like, the one cop, right? One cop goes out there and he knocks on the door and he's like, hey, are you really doing all these things? And he tells them like what everybody in town's saying about him. And he's like, no, I'm not. And they're like, well, can we search your house? And he's like, no, you can't. And they're like, okay, bye. And they just leave. And I guarantee you it was because like they knocked on the door and the door opened. And there's even one person on the documentary that said when the door opened, like it would waft onto, like the smell inside would waft out and like knock you a dick into the dirt. Just nasty caca. And so I'm sure when that officer got that and he was like, no, you can't come in here, he was like, oh, thank God, and just left. So finally, though, on October 5th of 2014, sorry, not 2004, 2014, they finally decide, you know what, enough people, because this guy who was his longtime friend, his name was Matt, which I'm very concerned about him from the documentary. Poor guy, carries around a lot of trauma. He pretty much goes to them and he's like, check it out. If you guys don't go handle this dude, I'm going to. We'll get it over and done with. And so they go and they find the human remain, well, the skeleton, not human, well, human, but obvious, like, God damn it, now I'm getting all tongue-tied. The skeleton remains. Both skeletons. He is now 35 at this point, and his self-proclaimed wife, Amber, aka Bubbles, she was only 24. They're arrested, they're charged with murder. They are not legally married, so they are not husband and wife legitly. Even though I guess if you look on their Facebook, it does say on Facebook that they've been married since sometime in November of like 2009, like way back. So they are both charged with murder and accessory after the fact. And her friend Crystal is charged with accessory after the fact. She helped them move the bodies and did not say anything. And so the victims are Joshua and Tommy. Okay. Joshua lived with him. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. Joshua was killed in front of his mother, not Joseph. I misspoke. I'm sorry about that. So no one knows why or what happened between the two. They just know that obviously he killed him. And his mother says that it happened sometime in October. And in the documentary, you get to see Joshua's baby mama and ex-girlfriend, and she describes him as like an amazing guy. who got into some trouble. And since he had gotten into trouble and got a felony, he had some, I think it was like mushrooms delivered in the mail. And since it was through the mail, it was a felony. So after that, he couldn't find any work or do anything, like really. So he ended up moving into Pazuzu's house. Sorry, every time I say it, I laugh. Moving in there, and everybody just liked to go there because you weren't judged. Like, I guess like it was so horrible and so trashy that literally all these drug addicts and all these drunks would piss and shit on the floor. Like, this house literally, guys, was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Just, ugh. I just can't even imagine grossness. And this poor man was kept in the basement, and people have said millions of times before that, like, oh, he says he keeps people in his basement, bodies in his basement, he's killed people, he eats people. Nobody believed this guy. His baby mama even calls and she's like, I know you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I think my son's dad's buried in some dude's backyard. And they're like, no, it's not crazy, we think he is too. And that's right, like right before they go and find him. But Tommy, he was just some nice fella. Fucking, they shot him and killed him before he even had a chance to light a cigarette. Like, he went to light a cigarette and bam, they killed him. They were in his backyard for 5 years. 5 years. 5 years of people telling everybody, like, this dude killed these people, this dude did this dude did that. 5 years of it. Which is absolutely insane. Like, Josh was last seen in 2009 and was reported missing in 2010. And Tommy was reported in 2009. So it was just insane. And Pazuzu lived at 2749 Nob Hill Drive. And that home was owned by his mother and his stepfather. And the stepdad didn't live there because fucking Pazuzu told his mommy that you can't be married to this man no more. And so she said, okay. Okay. There was satanic pentagrams all over. There was blood. There was urine. Like, alcohol. There was just... ugh. And it's in a cute little neighborhood. Absolutely cute little neighborhood. And this house sticks out like a sore thumb. It has a pitch black back door with like symbols and shit all over. It was just crazy. And his mother lived there the whole time. The house, after all of this shit happened and the bodies were found and he was taken to jail and obviously his mother was kicked out and everybody was gone. The house was deemed fucking unlivable, uninhabitable. Like, you can't go in there at all. Like, they even had to have the fire department come out and bust windows out and everything else just so they can get in there. They even demolished it and covered it up and like wiped away every remain of this fucking family from living on this street. After all of this, they just completely wiped it out. It was just insane. So in 2010, he was ordered to do a health evaluation, right? And where they were like, yeah, he can't stand trial. He's not crazy. Shockingly, not crazy. Which is insane. He said he drank a lot. No duh. And when he went to his evaluation, he smelt of like human feces. Again. He had not brushed his teeth in years. He had extremely poor hygiene, a very bad odor. But he did suffer from schizophrenia and alcoholism and depression. It was just like, he was just a really sad fucked up dude deep down inside, like completely just fucked up. He was moved to an actual prison, and in May of 2015 he was put on like a safekeeping order, and you just with that, like, they just like, you're supposed to be checked in more than any other inmate. Like, they just need to check on you because obviously you have suicidal tendencies. And on October 28th, 2015, around 3 a.m. in the morning, he was found unresponsive in his jail cell from wounds to his arm. He was attempted to bring him back and stop the bleeding, but he was pronounced dead nonetheless at 4:20 in the morning. He had bitten a chunk of skin out of his arm. Ugh. He had a child with an ex. His mother, who still, she's a very sad woman. Very, very sad woman. Absolutely, it's so sad. She truly believes that her son did all these things only because of the drugs, and that he was just sad, you know? It was absolutely horrible. The girls went and pled guilty for all of their roles in the murder. And it's just super sad. It is. I recommend everybody watch The Devil You Know. And it's a 5-parter on YouTube if you watch it on YouTube. Just type in Pazuzu. Pazuzu. It's just so super sad. Like, these people died for no reason. And this man got away with murder for like 5 years, mainly because everybody was just like, he's fucking weird and crazy. Of course, something shady happened. Of course. Like, look at this situation. And it's just absolutely horrible. Like, there's a reporter, like the main reporter, that was like, this shit ain't right. And he dove into it really deep. And he goes and talks to all of them. And the only person he himself cannot talk to is Pazuzu's mom. But she actually agrees to meet up with Joshua's baby mama. And she literally, his mom is just it's the saddest fucking thing you'll ever see. Like, that is just a woman who, no matter what that kid would have ever done, his mother would have loved him till the end of the earth. Like, she did not see him at all the other way the world did. She literally saw him as a giant, massive teddy bear, lovely child. Like, even though he has all these crazy tattoos all over his face and like all this shit, she has all these pictures of him up on the wall. His ashes are in a very beautiful urn. He's put on display in this woman's home. She truly loves her son. Like, and they found out in court because everything was locked up, right? And sealed until the court hearings happened for the girls, because he died, obviously. But like, that's when they found out that his mom was there the day Josh died, and that she just went back to work and finished getting ready. And she was like, well, at first I thought it was a firecracker. And so she went to go see what was happening, saw that he had shot Josh, and then went back to work, like went back to getting ready, and kind of like that, oh my God, oh no, I just got to get the fuck out of here type of mode. And so that's what she did. She got ready and she just went to work, and she didn't turn him in because it's her son. Literally, guys, she, like a woman, like a mother's love, you hope to God your mama loves you as much as his mama loved him. Because nothing this man would have ever done would have ever changed this woman's opinion about him. I wholeheartedly believe that. And then you also get to meet Tommy's mom, and she's the one who talks to the reporter. And like, they showed a picture of her looking at Tommy when he was a young kid. He wasn't like a baby, but like, it's the only son she had. And you can just tell from this picture from when he was younger, that this mother just loved him. Oh, she loved Tommy so much. His mom loved him. And like the reporter is going through some shit, right? Like one of his children is starting down the path that he saw all the children that used to hang out with Pazuzu going down. And he was like, no shit, if that house was still around to this day, I know for a fact my kid would be in there. Like that's how far spiraling down his child was going. And Tommy's mom's like, don't you let them get your baby. Like, don't you let the devil get your baby. Like, oh my God. Dude, it was just so heartfelt and just so sad. And like, she was like, you just spend time with him and you just love him and you just let him know that like you love him no matter what. And it's also like, it's a true crime documentary, obviously, but it's also like an intervention story as well. Because then there's this kid, Nathan, who's on the documentary, him and his girlfriend at the time, well, they break up, thankfully. And her name's Jenna. And they ended up having a baby together. They're heroin addicts. And he's the one who replaces Pazuzu's floor. So Pazuzu and Amber call him up one day and they're like, hey, we're actually going to clean the house and all this shit. And he had went and got a Lowe's credit card to buy like, I don't know if it was Lowe's, but like a card for one of those Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. And he was getting tools and then selling the tools and getting drug money. And so he was like, well, fuck, okay, I'll buy you guys all new flooring. Yeah, that's after the fucking murders. He just is like, whatever, because he was Pazuzu's friend. And everybody who was this dude's friend said he was like very enticing and it was just very welcoming to be his friend because you knew he wasn't going to judge you because he was already obviously as dirty and filthy as they come. So it was an open area. Like you weren't judged. You could be who you were. If you didn't want to shower, cool. You didn't want to do that, cool. Like everybody said that like the dark side of life was really his motivation and his get to turn off type of thing. So you were just not judged. There was no limitations on what you could or could not be when it came to being a friend of Pazuzu. But like Nathan goes to jail and he gets recovered and so does she, and they have a baby and they're not together, but they still have a baby. And I don't even know. Like it was just, I've watched it 3 times now, I think, all 5 episodes. Very good. Very, very good. Very, very good. Very, very good. It's just so crazy. It is just so crazy that people get away with the shit they get away with in this world. All up until like it takes a certain point where people are forced to do the right thing before the right thing happens. And that just blows my fucking mind. And that's what happened here. They were forced to listen. And so they did. And then they find out that this all could have been solved way back in the day. But the cops were lazy. And it turns into a shit show when it involves police. I don't want to talk negatively about the police, but they fucked up. Hardcore fucked up. But yeah, guys, that's Pazuzu. I'll post a picture of this cat too. Crazy. Motherfucker looks crazy. Anywho. So yeah, I love you guys. Have a good week. Follow me on Twitter. It is what it is 208 because that's where I'm from. Instagram, it is what it is, pod19, all together, no spaces. Facebook and YouTube, it is what it is, a true crime podcast. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. If you have not rated my review, fuck off. If you have not reviewed my show, please do on your local podcast viewer. And have a good week, everyone. Stay classy.